Reporting live with AOB and Fresh Ed. This is the Verruckt Breakdown. Thank y'all for joining us today. I'm your host, AOB, also known as Elijah Beatty, or Elijah Beatty, also known as AOB. And this is Fresh Ed, also known as Ed Rahim, also known as Edithan Johnson, whatever you like to refer him as. Anything you want to say? Introduce yourself?
No.
He's all shy. But yeah. And we're going to be breaking down Verruckt if I had not mentioned that already. Fresh Ed's debut album. Yeah. So is there anything you want to say about Verruckt? Or like describe Verruckt and what your main goal out of the album was to be?
I guess I don't really have like a main goal. But I knew I wanted to recreate like the sound that I grew up kind of listening to when I was in like high school, and while I was trying to imitate that sound, and then just combining other things that I like grew up on listening to.
What are some things you grew up on? Like growing up?
Well, like first in like middle school and like early high school, I was like really into like the really old like rap and hip hop. So like a lot of old school stuff like Run DMC or A.P.F, Rakim, NWA, Nas, and
how old are you now?
20.
20?
I'm 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the only thing I would listen to, right? So just like a lot of old school. Like I would not get too hyped up about anything else coming out. So I was kind of just like so stuck in like the past or living in the past.
Yeah.
Before I was even born. Because everything else after that, if it was like 2010 or newer, I just would like not listen to it. But
pretty mid.
Yeah, it was pretty mid. But it was this kid, his name was Jose, and I would always see him as like, yeah, Jose, wherever you're at. It was a kid, he would have like this like, he had an Odd Future hoodie, it was like a Tron cap, and I always wondered what that meant, and I would always see it like tagged, like the acronym, the OFWGKX, like random places, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I never really knew what that was, but he like put me onto that and introduced me to new songs, and like from him I was just like, that was the first open door where I found something that was like modern that really spoke to me. Cause that's like out of everything from like the old school stuff, like the Odd Future stuff really made me like, I don't know, like
want to make music or like inspire you to
not much to really make music, but to like I feel like it spoke to me more than anything. I feel like, especially when you're younger, when you're like more rebellious and like you don't care about anything, like that's the type of sound that I got from them. And you can definitely tell from like the synthesizer to like the drums, like how I was trying to like imitate that sound.
Yeah, you can definitely hear it.
Yeah, and then from the sound itself, it became just kind of like music that's like edgy. But obviously where I'm at now, like it's not where I'm at in life. You know, I'm not some edgy like high schooler or anything anymore. So I guess I made it to kind of prove myself in the past where I wasn't so comfortable with music, to like know that I can do it, and that anything you can do if you can like put your mind and your hard work. But to also like evolve from as a person from where I am now, because I feel like if I were to make like an album like this when I was in high school, like it would have just been like too edgy and that would be it. But I feel like now it's like edgy enough to know where I can't stop and talk about something else instead of just being like, oh, F this, F that, and you know.
Feels like that one is pretty edgy. Were you edgy in high school?
No, I mean in high school I was on an honor roll. I always got good grades. I never really missed out on any day of school. I was good at math. I like math a lot. I like learning history. But just like that sound, like the edginess, made me feel like more like empowered, you know?
Yeah.
But I guess I was edgy enough to like just go out and skate and, you know, break into other places and skate that or get kicked out or whatever. But like when it came to school, I was like on top of it. I never really got in trouble in like school. So yeah, it was definitely just easier to like draw the line now from like what I can't say that would be too edgy, and then just like be more mature about my music too.
So you're 20 now. How old were you when you like decided like, I want to start like making music or producing music?
I didn't say like there was like a start, because I was always into like just rap in general, like the old school hip hop. But one of the first things I remember getting, I was in 8th grade, and I remember buying myself my first mixer, my controller, and then my dad bought me like an iPad and headphones after that. And that was around my birthday, so I would just put the iPad in, headphones in. And at the time, like really wasn't into like rapping. I really wanted to like make beats, and I wanted that to be my thing. But I just started off like kind of DJing too, because being into like the old school stuff, I was really like into like scratching. So that was always like my thing. Yeah. Like not what I do now, where it's like more like modern music.
Yeah.
But I would always play like a beat and then just like some chopped up samples or vocals or different parts of a song, and just like scratch like every day. That's what I would do for like every day after school. That's all I would
Hours.
do. Yeah, like that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to get better at scratching. Listening to like Run DMC or Eric B and Rakim and all those, like anything that was involved in scratching, like that's what I wanted to do. And like when I first started, all I would like think about was like being like Dr. Dre, like being like a producer and then like a DJ. Like that's what I wanted to do. But it wasn't until like my freshman year of high school where I really wanted to like start rapping, because at that time I'd already discovered Odd Future, and that's what like kind of made me like really get up and make music like that. But I was also still into like all the older stuff. But my first like song that I dropped was my freshman year, and I was really into like the chopping, like the fast rap, Tech Nine, Twista, Eminem stuff. So my first song was like chopping, and now my first project is all just trying to recreate like the Odd Future kind of type of sound, but then also like have it still be me. Because I feel like there's a lot of elements to Verruckt where it's like Verruckt is like edgy and like teenagerish, but it's also like religious and like, I wouldn't say like political, but like social, I guess.
Yeah. So instead of the edgy aspect on Verruckt, can you talk more about like the religious parts? Because you get really deep on some tracks. So how does that tie into like the edgy part?
It ties into wanting to like grow, just like how I grew out of just that type of music. Because the more you get older, the more mature, but also growing not only like in age, but in phase too, and knowing right from wrong and wanting to do better. And I didn't think I would ever like make music like that where I would cover my religious life.
Mm-hmm.
But getting that part of the project definitely made like a place where you start and then you end somewhere different in the project, where in the beginning it's like so like edgy and you're like hear me cussing, and at the end it's more like calm and more relaxed.
Yeah. Sick, man. Well, let's go ahead and dissect it from tracks 1 through 7.
Jack Myers at your door, huh? Bring it on, bruh. Watch out, oh, here he comes, better run, son. Jack Myers at your door, huh? Bring it on, bruh. Watch out, oh, here he comes, better run, son.
So now let's get into dissecting Verruckt. Right now we're going to go over track number 1, which is titled Detention. What is your main goal of detention? There's no drums. It's just 808s and just like a pad, right? And like you just rapping.
It was very limited. At first, it was just like the pad and like the kind of like the strings here and then and in the outro, and just like a small like kick every now and then. And I really didn't want to add like the 808, but I just kept on hearing it, and once I added it in, I felt like that was the one thing that was missing, that I told myself like, oh, I don't want to add 808 in here, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to have an 808. But that's like the only like song with 808s on there. And besides that, like everything is just simple. So the emphasis was really on like the vocals and what it was saying. So it was definitely still like very like kind of dark, but also like edgy. Kind of like how someone would be if they were in detention, like all mad, you know. I've never actually had detention, so I wouldn't try my best to kind of imitate.
You just like see how it feels.
Yeah.
Maybe this is how it feels.
Yeah, kind of like that, where that's how I would have probably been like if I ever would have been in that position for some reason, you know, just being mad of being there and, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's detention. Track 2, titled Yogurt. What did you want to get away? Can you please tell me why it's named Yogurt?
Oh, Yogurt? It's called Yogurt because I remember one day I was downstairs in the kitchen, I had my laptop, I was making beats, and I had a yogurt that day, and so I named it Yogurt. And that's usually how I name my beats, and I just felt like not changing it. I just thought the name sounded cool, so I stick to that. I just named it Yogurt.
And for those of you that don't know, I got a little cameo on this track right here. For those of you that don't know, I get enough credit for that.
It's
let's say the O.F.
Yeah, some background vocals on the
track.
Yeah, on the track.
So I'm on there if you listen.
Yeah.
What is Yogurt about?
Yogurt is kind of like, because Detention was like the introduction to the character Jack, but like Yogurt is like kind of like more of like what he thinks, like his imagination, I guess. The first verse is kind of like, and
so for those that don't know, you're gonna name the album Jack Myers.
Yeah.
And now it's named Verruckt.
Yeah.
But this album is about Jack?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Jack being you?
Jack is, I mean, it's not really me, but I guess I put elements to my life into making this character kind of like how people make movies. They kind of resemble themselves in that way.
Yeah.
Or like in authors write books, they kind of put some of their personal things on there. But this album isn't really like personal in that way, but it's always like cool to like make characters out of something and then just have it be played along, kind of like in movies, you know, like actors play a role and there's always a screenwriter, director.
Yeah.
And like for me, it kind of went for it to kind of just be that and just make characters and have them have these emotions and then change. It's, you know.
But it's all coming from you.
Yeah, I mean, the mind, everything's from my mind, just making everything and having this kind of narrative being pushed through the whole album, but it's not really anything like so, like personal, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of besides like the religious part where I kind of just talk about that, but it's not really much like anything that you would really know about me, like personally as a person, you know.
Yeah.
But for Yogurt, it's just like talking about whatever nonsense, especially with like the first verse. It's kind of like in third person, and it's the chorus, and it's in first person. And you can kind of just, from there, kind of just hear on like what he wants and like material stuff. And just like, I think that's the first part where he kind of talks about like race throughout the album. There's like this famous part out of the interview. This lady, Kelly Osbourne. She's like, oh, if you kick out all the Mexicans, who's gonna be cleaning your toilet? And it kind of put that in reverse, where it's like, oh, I'm like Kelly Osbourne child and I'm cleaning your toilet, and I'm not poor. So kind of just to play on words where that's not gonna be like the only place like you could see someone, you know, it's like brown just doing whatever.
And if you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying
there's more jobs to be.
In LA, they always.
But
they don't.
Latinos are not only the only people.
I didn't mean it like that. Come on. No, I would never mean it like that.
Now to Walkers, right?
Walkers, yeah.
Yeah, now we're going to Walkers. This is my favorite song. This is my favorite song on the album. Walkers.
Walkers?
Yeah, Walkers is my favorite song off the album. Yeah, Walkers. It's the longest song on the album.
Yeah.
It's, to me, my favorite song on the album. What would be the main idea for those who listen you would want them to think about the song? Like, what, if I had to get anything from Walkers, what would one thing be?
The one thing for that song would be to just like be free and kind of do what you want.
Yeah.
Kind of like when I listen to like, again, just Odd Future, that's how they make me feel. And with that song, it's still like very like in your face, but it's also very like, I want it to be like in your face, but also like kind of lift you up.
Yeah, it's like calm, you know? And then it goes,
Yeah.
And
just like be free and like kind of just like have fun, but most importantly, like put yourself first in what you want to do.
Yeah.
That song is like, it's the longest song in there, but it says a lot about just like kind of sticking true to who you are, and even like on the hook where it's just like moshing, you know, like just like let it all out and just like be free and do what you want to do. And you can hear that too in just like the small sections where it's just like me talking, and then it goes back into just a lot of chaos and the hook. And then on the second part, you can hear even more where everything kind of changes, but you still have like the same attitude.
Yeah. I like the way it rides out.
Rides out?
Yeah, like the ending.
Yeah. I remember, because that beat is like 3 years old. I remember like showing it to you guys.
It's been in the vault for a while.
Yeah. But that was definitely like a beat that I really liked, and I knew I couldn't just let it go to waste like that.
Yeah.
And Walker's is named after the skater. His name is Kyle Walker, and I really like his shoes, so I just thought that was cool enough. And I say in the song, so yeah.
Fits. Yeah. Sick. I love that song, Walkers. And now we're going into track 4, titled Trapped. This is also one of my favorites. This is the first song on the album where you get more intimate, right? Like about your religion.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah. I knew like, obviously like with the change within the sound where everything up to here has been really like kind of dark and like in your face, but for this one I knew I wanted to be more like calm, but also again have most of the vocals kind of do most part of the song, kind of like in the first track where it was still pretty like limited and the instruments and the drums. But for this one, again, I also wanted to be more the vocals and what I'm saying kind of speak more than just like the chords or like the claps or the kicks or the synthesizer. So like each like small, because the verses are like real short too, but they all kind of have like the same meaning of like basically temptation. And the hook, I tried breaking it down into like 3 people who like kind of influence you to do bad things, whether it's like him, like a guy or her, or they as a group all together want you to like do something, and that's like through them, kind of like the devil talking through them, trying to get to you to do something bad. So that's kind of like the breakdown of like the hook, at least for what it meant to like, no matter like where you go and like who you're with, there's always gonna be someone, whether it's like your guy friend or like a girlfriend or a group of friends, they may want to kind of like put you through something you don't want to do and something that's not really like Christ-like. And then kind of like each part of or each verse kind of like what the devil wants you to do.
Why is track number 5 titled Overlook?
I'm a huge fan of The Shining and The Hotel, and The Shining is called The Overlook Hotel. So yeah, I just thought it was cool. Again, just like whatever came up first in mind. I always tell people to like trust their first instinct. And then that's all I could think about. And like at first, like the name of the beat on like the iPad was like, I don't know, man. And I just didn't feel like that would like work through.
Can't name it like yogurt.
Yeah, I can't just name anything like that.
Yeah.
Like yogurt. But I just named it Overlook because I'm a big fan of The Shining. And
About the Overlook.
yeah.
But
it was just Overlook because there's some kind of theories where like people say, oh, like the hotel represents hell when they're all trapped there, blah blah blah. There's like many theories on like The Shining and what it actually means, but that's like one of the theories where it's like, oh, it's like hell. So I kind of named it Overlook for that reason. And then, you know, through like the hook and the verses, it's all about like kind of like the devil and what he wants and what he could like promise you if you like give in to him. And then obviously like that small like part of the hook where it's like, well, I'm coming for you, I'm coming for you, I'm coming for you, you know. So kind of like his message to you, and just like whatever he wants you to believe like matters, like a house or like so many materialistic things that really don't matter.
Yeah. I tend to fall into that. People tend to fall in that a lot. Like, oh, I should be having this and this. Just like these stereotypical social norms should be. But like, you know, you should be yourself and not try to fit in for others. Track 6, Mice. Why is track 6 titled Mice?
It's titled Mice because there's this one like leaked or unreleased song by Earl Sweatshirt. Again, just tying into like TheOfficialA.P.F stuff.
Yeah.
And it's called Rats. And so I just changed it to Mice. Because I thought, whatever, screw it, you know?
Yeah, why not, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like and the leak, it's more minimalist in the drums, but he does most of the vocals like carries the song. But for this one, I feel like it's a little bit of both. You still have the vocals, but you also have a lot of things going on like within the drums and the synthesizer and like the other, like I think it's 2 synths on there and like a pad. So yeah, like with that song, it kind of brings it back to like the edginess, but also like more angry about like more like social things again, like race. Like in that song, there's a lot about race too. So it kind of just after that like breather room of like being like religious and knowing right from wrong, knowing what is possible to get if you follow the temptation. Like here's like the edginess again, trying to know that they're like trying to grow, but also still being so angry of random things, you know.
Yeah.
Like yeah, like Mice is definitely like that one song where it kind of finally gets like a final say from all the like the anger and whatever else wants to be released out there. When Verruckt came out, I was waiting for this like forever when I got Disney Plus, and it was this movie called McFarlane USA. And it's about like a bunch of like Mexican like with the cross country runners, and I remember seeing it once and how it made me feel when I was in like high school. And the funny thing is, like when I dropped Verruckt, that's the same like day it came out on Disney Plus. Just a
Really?
coincidence, yeah.
What?
So it was always a movie that I was like kind of waiting for
Yeah.
to like kind of come out, but I was never available. And then when I dropped Verruckt the same day, it just happened to.
That's
release.
crazy.
Yeah. So I connected to that too, where it's like, oh, I'm with the runners of McFarlane, you know.
Yeah.
And it also ties it a lot into like pesticides, like, you know, those workers in the fields and how they get treated, and pesticides, like, oh, I'm trying to go outside with a pesticide and stuff like that. So it's definitely a speaker or like a voice for like that kind of subject, I guess, where you kind of see it kind of push out the edginess, but still be more like social and aware of what's going on outside. And one of the things that I really didn't understand, or I guess I didn't really get what people were trying to say. It's like, oh, like how's it go? It's like, just because you don't experience like racism doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like something that I never like got, or like, I was like, oh yeah, whatever, like, you know, like that's how I would think about it. Because I've never, like me personally, I've never experienced something like that to me happen, at least that I know of, where it's like, oh, I'm doing this specifically because of, you know, your skin color for whatever reason. Like I've never been through like something like that.
Yeah.
But I know like seeing it now and like how it affects people, not to be like so like SJW and, you know, like, but that's kind of like a message that I wanted to like go through was the project. And you could definitely see it in throughout like some songs and how much I wanted to kind of talk about that.
Sorry, last track on the album, titled "Freedom."
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of like the closing.
Beautiful closing.
Yeah, and it's like takes it back where it's like more calm again from like the beginning where it's like more dark and minimal. And as you go through, it kind of goes kind of ups and downs, but it's like more like hyped up, more angry, then more down and calm, and then kind of angry again. And then you finally get to like the last song where it's more minimalist again with like the beat structure and what it has.
It's a roller coaster of emotions.
And even with like the sound kind of changes a bit too, where it's no longer like really kicky or punchy kicks, or like it doesn't have like that Odd Future sound, that Tyler or Sweatshirt sound anymore, but it's more like calm and it's more like laid back and it's more like acoustic too. So that's really like the switch up was really kind of needed there, where it's no longer like a dark sound.
Yeah.
You can still tell it's pretty calm, but it's not like as dark.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't have the same effect as like when you first listen to the other songs.
Yeah, there's others.
And Freedom, that comes from this song called Last Exit. Last Exit is a made up song, I guess, from Degrassi, you know. And
you're a big fan of Degrassi?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. Before everyone hopped on the wave.
Yeah, he bought the DVDs to Degrassi because they took it off whatever streaming service that it was on.
No, it was on YouTube for free, and then it took it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like a huge fan. And you could see like other like Degrassi references throughout like Verruckt too. It kind of just ties it in where like, is this like my project? And it's not really like me, like it's not about me, but I like putting elements of like different things like pulling up to school in a hearse. There's actually this character in Degrassi, when you first meet him, he's like driving a hearse to school, and he has a hearse for like a while. So he drives that to school. And again, it just kind of ties back to like making this album my own, right? Making whatever ideas I want that I have on paper to actually put it out and kind of create stories from there. So there's this song called Last Exit from Degrassi. And I just say one of the lines at the end that's from the song is, I'll take my last exit to freedom. And I feel like it kind of just speaks to like what direction you want to go and when it's time to like be free and whatever that means to you.
What does that mean to you?
Taking the last exit to like freedom, kind of like what that speaks to me, especially when I listen to like a song sometimes, is to like to be free in a way where you know what's best for you and knowing which direction you want to go, and finally having that gut feeling to like finally go through with it.
Freedom is a beautiful song. I enjoy it. I like the references from it to Degrassi and how it relates to you. And let's conclude. Like, is there anything you want to like say that you haven't, like more about Verruckt?
I mean, definitely like the album itself or the project itself is very like explicit, but it takes a lot of like still like themes from wanting to be better and growing, and especially if you're like a religious person and you want to like grow, it ties back to kind of evolving with your faith and not really going back to your old ways, but growing from there. Where in the beginning it's like still just like a lot of chaos, and by the end you kind of get like this like reflection, and it is like a verse like talking to God, and a verse talking about race, and a verse that's like talking about just like finally like being over whatever, you know, like detention, where having be like the best feeling ever when you finally like feel like you've had your freedom and you no longer feel stuck in being in the same place with the same emotions. I mean, that's kind of like what it means to me, I guess, where kind of having that narrative of being kind of like lost and like trapped, and then finally like being free. So I guess it's like a play on words at the same time, with like the song Trap and then the song Freedom. So yeah, like this project being my first project, this is one that I knew I wanted to do for like a very long time. And I was looking through like my old iPhone 5C, and it
The green one?
yeah, the green one.
Yeah.
I was looking at the green one, and I forgot, like, I was making like a project at the time too, like freshman year or something, and I had like the track listed. I didn't have any songs for it, but I had like the song names and how many like songs there were going to be and like what sound. And I still have like some old beats from it too, like the beats that I was going to use. And I was looking at this the other day, like, dude, the album is called Verruckt, like it's still there.
Yeah.
And I knew like still like that sound, like that's the sound that I wanted to for sure kind of imitate, because that sound kind of made me feel like empowered and really spoke to me when I was younger, and kind of hoping that like sound could like do that to other people, to not also like feel like empowered and like this like I don't care attitude, but to also like know which direction is right for you. So definitely with Verruckt, it's one project that I've always wanted to do, but I never did. But I knew that direction was always there. But I guess it really took a lot for like that green light to finally tell myself that I want to finally do all this and actually make it and actually put in the work and make a couple beats, or take old beats that have been stuck forever and finally do something with it. And I feel like for artists too, like that's like a big thing to finally like not be so stuck on the block anymore and just finally putting in work and knowing what you want to make for each album, because I knew what I wanted to make when I started working on it. At the time, I didn't know like the album name or anything, but I knew like, okay, this song's gonna be this song's gonna be that, and slowly putting it together. And then the title Verruckt just means like crazy in German.
So it's called Crazy?
Crazy, insane in German. I just thought it sounded cool again, just because
Yeah.
that's my first instinct.
Why not, eh?
Huh?
Why not?
Yeah, I was like, why not? Yeah. Because there's this Call of Duty Zombies map that's pretty hard. I don't play it at all. And it's pretty hard. And it's called Verruckt. I just thought it sounded cool and badass. So I was like, you know what? That sounds cool. That sounds like a good album title.
That's great.
It finally came together into what it is now.
What was the hardest song to make?
The hardest song to make?
Do you even remember?
Yeah. The hardest song to make was Yogurt, because I was like really stuck on like the writer's block and what I wanted to say. That was the one song where I didn't really like put much effort in. Like towards the end, I was like, oh, I'm so stuck. I don't know what to do. And the original plan was to go like chronologically and sequentially to like each song. Like, okay, we got the first song done. Now let's do the second, then we'll do the third. But it ended up not being that way, where we did track 1, we did like track 3 in one day.
Mm-hmm.
We did track 4 and track 5 for like maybe a couple of days, and then the last song he had kind of finished. I think around then we finally came back to the second song, because I was kind of so hard in trying to figure out what else I wanted to get out for that song, which is still very like angry and still very there's a lot of like modern topics for Yogurt and a lot of like celebrity or public like references, whether it's like Tucker Carlson or something like that, where I kind of bring that up.
You know a lot of celebrity references too.
Huh?
You know a lot of celebrity references.
Yeah, I know a lot of
like Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah, Tom Cruise. Yeah, Tom Cruise at the Oprah show. Kelly Osbourne saying the racist thing or whatever crazy thing Tucker Carlson wants to say, or whatever. Like, I think I mentioned like Bill O'Reilly or something.
Yeah, Bill O'Reilly's head starts spinning.
Yeah, whatever crazy thing he has to say. There's a wrestling reference on there. This guy named Paul Heyman. He's like really good at mic skills. Like, he knows how to really rock a crowd and perform like that, and he knows how to like make emotion out of someone. You know, when he's not a wrestler or anything, but
he just knows how to get under your skin.
Yeah, and he's a founder of ECW, and ECW is like one of my favorite like wrestling things, I guess. What do you call it? A wrestling program?
Yeah.
It's dead now because it's not a thing anymore. But I always liked ECW, so there's that reference to that, and there's just random other references to public figures, and yeah.
Sick. What's your favorite song?
My favorite song?
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite song. Dude, that's hard. I don't know.
They're like your babies.
Yeah, I can't. Bass for now.
That's a safe answer.
Yeah, that's a safe answer for now.
Yeah. But where can we find you? And where you can find it will be the link in the description below. Instagram, all the links to anywhere you want to listen to. And anything else you want to say about Verruckt? What's next?
What's next?
Stay tuned.
I don't know yet, but
no, he's got something. Just stay tuned.
Yeah.
We're not gonna hit you with I don't know. It's coming. Stay tuned.
Yeah, something out there definitely, but I don't really give really too much away until it's actually an actual final idea. But something out there going on.
Well, thanks, Fresh Ed, for having me. And listen to Verruckt. It's out now everywhere. Yeah, make sure you subscribe, like, comment your favorite song, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.